Hello everybody, and thank you for joining me. This is Ciara from Ciara T Designs, and today I have my March bullet journal to share with you guys, so let's jump right in. So as I am using this year, I have the Archer and Olive storybook, I believe is what it was called. I bought it last year in beginning of 2025, and I've just been waiting to use it for this year. And I'm going to draw out my calendar, and I have seen many different ways to do your bullet journal. It's very personal, very to you as to what you want to do. And for me personally, I try to make it aesthetic as well as functional. And I find my cover page / calendar tends to be my most aesthetic page, but I have seen people do stuff like a cover page and then their calendar separately, or they'll do a calendar on one page and not have it split across two. There's no right or wrong, especially with a bullet journal, because it is so personal that you're going to do this however it works for you. Now I have my calendar. It is 6x6 boxes. That's just what I prefer. And I tend to switch which side of the actual left or right page the majority of the calendar sits on. If you saw my February bullet journal, you'll know that I did actually end up doing that one kind of as a rectangle instead in the center, just because it was perfectly laid out. But now that we're going back into months that have different shapes, I will kind of go back to having it across one page more than the other. So that's just kind of my preference. Like I said, there's no right or wrong. There are stamp sets you can use if you don't want to draw it out. There's so much different stuff you can do to decorate yours. Now I'm going to bring out the 49 & Market Echoes of Time collection. I used this back in November as well for my bullet journal, but I love this collection so much. I could not resist bringing it back into my journal for 2026 as well. So if you want to go and check out November's setup, it was in a traveler's notebook size. So it was kind of a cool, different way to work with everything. But in this one, I've brought in this same 6x8 paper, and I'm just kind of cutting out what I need for the pages because I like to decorate my calendar spread quite a bit. And I've just chosen 2 out of that paper pad. There's multiple. There's a 12x12 paper pad, then there's a 6x8 paper pad. Scrapbook actually has individual sheets of some of them as well. This collection is just stunning, and I have the whole collection, so I couldn't resist having an excuse to use it again. And you did kind of see me measure it out. I do a mixture of eyeballing and measuring stuff when I work on my bullet journal especially, and then I use my slide trimmer to kind of cut these weird intricate cuts that I need to go around the calendar. And honestly, you guys, I usually cut it wrong because I am eyeballing everything, right? And so because of that, I have to kind of guesstimate where everything needs to be. I'm sure that you could use a knife and a ruler if you wanted to do it a little more precise than what I'm doing. But honestly, I don't mind. I'm not aiming for perfection. I'm more just aiming to create something that makes me happy and that I enjoy looking at all month, because I do use my bullet journal quite a bit throughout the month. You guys know that I do a meal planner in it. I use it for daily tasks. I use it to keep on top of my videos, different content, all sorts of stuff. So I use mine. I look at it pretty much daily, and I just really enjoy it. So I really want it to be both aesthetically pleasing and functional. So it's kind of what I aim for. Now I'm going to lay down everything. I've pretty much chosen my elements at this point. So I'm going to lay down my cut for those 2 pages that I've kind of trimmed around the calendar. And then I'm going to bring out a couple of different things from the collection. So I'm going to use this, as I said, is the 6x8 paper. I'm also going to use the Rubons, the Wildflower laser cuts, and the laser cut elements. And you'll kind of see that as we go. The laser cut elements I'm going to actually use on my cover page. And then I'm going to use the florals throughout my weeklies when we kind of get into that. But I am going to just reinforce the adhesive that sits next to the spine, just because I do, as I said, I use it daily. So I open and close my book constantly. So that is one of those things where it's you gotta just try to keep it in place if you can. So I got this really pretty clock out of the laser cuts elements. It's this clock with all these beautiful roses around it. And then I'm adding some cogs and, different steampunk-esque items because this is a very steampunk-y themed paper pad and stuff, and it's just so pretty. And then of course it's March, so I'm going to bring in my sticker. This is one of my sticker sets. This is the Large Months Black, because I have them in different colors and I have them in a different size. So this is just kind of the biggest of them. And I've been really enjoying that, using them on the big journal. And then I also am going to bring in, this is actually a colorway I haven't used in my journals yet. And I've been doing bullet journals now. I started in the beginning of 2024. So I did all of 2024, all of 2025, and now of course we're into 2026. And I have never used this color, although it was a color that I didn't release in my first collection. But this is Orchid, and I think that it went with this collection stunningly. I was trying to find something in my collection that kind of matched the purple that's in the Echoes of Time collection, and I think that my Orchid collection matches pretty beautifully. So I'm going to use several different things from the collection I had. That was my mini days of the week that I used for the headers, and then here I've got my ombre numbers in Orchid, and I'm going to kind of use a different color for each week. My sticker sets for journaling are set up in 5-week increments, unless you buy one of the mini sheets, of course. But all of my large sheets, which are A5 sized, by the way, they come with 5 colors. That is their purpose, because this all started when I was looking on the market for stickers that I could use in my bullet journal, and none of them seemed to have 5 weeks, and some months need 5 weeks, and you couldn't find colors that went beautifully together, or you'd have to buy multiple sheets, or you'd have to whatever, right? So that's kind of what stemmed me creating my own journaling stickers. And then here is Shade. You guys pretty much never get to see Shade. He rarely goes on the desk. This is Ember, with an E, not an A. This is Ember's brother, because if you guys know, we adopt cats in sets. We always take 2. And so this is Ember's brother. They're there from the same litter. When we fostered them, we kept them. We foster failed multiple times. That's why we have so many cats. But you guys never get to see him because he's so rarely on the desk. So I thought this was so cute because he's sitting here. You can see his tail, obviously. And then he actually flips around and he's going to lay on the corner of my desk for a bunch of this part of the video. And I had to leave all that in because it was just so flippin' cute to have him just kind of chilling. Now, if you guys have been with any of my bullet journal videos before, you know that I love to add geometric shapes to any time I need a list. So this is the geometric shape that I went with for this specific setup. I'm going to use it here for both my meal planner and my tasks and content spreads that you're going to see here in a second. And I use the same one for my brain dump that I use at the end of the setup as well. So it's just the exact same patterns. And see here, he's going to lay just right there for the next little bit. And it's just so cute because he was just hanging out. And I love it when they come and hang out with me. The kittens are pretty much always on the desk, but it's really rare now for anybody other than Mist to get on the desk. Ember does once in a while, but, and you guys pretty much never see Shadow either because she never gets on the desk. So it's kind of fun to have Shade pop up in a video for you guys. But here you can see that I've used 2 different sizes of Copic Multiliners. This is just to get different width between my lines. It's not as easy to tell in this specific section that one of them is quite a bit bigger, but they are. I used, I believe, the 0.5, like the 0.5 and the 1 is what I used for this. And then when I go in and draw the numbers on my meal tracker, which is on what I'm outlining currently, that will also have a 0.3 as the numbers, just because I do a meal planner on the left page. And then, as I said, on the right page, I do content and I do tasks for the month. And I've just found this works out the best for me in the way I need to plan everything. I like to buy groceries. I go to the grocery store once a week, pretty much on Tuesdays for whatever reason. Not always, of course, things always change and go up in the air, but generally that's when I like to go, and I will buy all of the week's fresh groceries that week. So say I'm going to make, I don't know, chili or something. I'll like buy all the stuff to have chili, and then I'll make sure that we have that on hand. But also that week we're going to have hot dogs at the last day of chili because there's only a little bit left, that kind of stuff. So I'll go out of my way to make sure that everything that comes in the house is going to be used for something, because I really, it's like it's not a pet peeve necessarily, but I don't like throwing out food. It really bothers me. I was raised in the middle of nowhere on a farm, and we had to eat stuff out of a deep freeze constantly, and it was rare that we got fresh stuff. And I'm not saying anything bad about that. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's just it kind of taught me, like, you don't throw stuff out because you need it. You don't have much. So because of that, I tend to, like, going to the grocery store once a week was an oddity. We didn't even do that when I was growing up. Everything was frozen. You had a whole bunch of frozen meat and whatever. So it's like a luxury to go to the store consistently like that and buy fresh stuff, but I don't like to throw things out. So when I sit down, generally Chris helps me. Chris is my husband, if you don't know, and we will sit down and do a meal plan together because he actually does pretty much all of the cooking. I just do all the grocery shopping, that kind of stuff, because I work from home now. So I have a little more of a lenient schedule. But for my meals, I will write out. So say we're going to have BLTs one week. So we need lettuce and tomatoes. Well, now we have lettuce and tomatoes. So what else can we do with that lettuce and tomatoes? Maybe we'll have, with lettuce, we might do a salad. Actually, with lettuce and tomatoes, I would do like a wedge salad and a chicken breast. And then we have some of that salad, that lettuce gets eaten, that kind of stuff. Like, it just helps me stay on top of whatever's come in food wise. And then we use the stuff because, like I said, I just really don't like throwing it out. So that is the best way for me to stay on top of that. So that is why I do a meals planner on the left-hand side. You could change this up for so many things if that's not applicable for you, though. Like, you could do, I've seen people, they'll do like a one line a day and they'll just write one thing that stood out to them that day that they want to remember. It can be a good thing, it can be a bad thing, it can be anything. It could be a mood tracker. You could just write how you're feeling in a list form for every day, or short notes about it. You could do finances. You could change it up and not have it every day as a list. So there's so many things you could do here that might be more applicable to your day by day. This just works really well for me. And then on the right-hand side, as I said, I have content and tasks. So this, I will break down the tasks that I have for the month. So if you guys saw my 2026 setup, I have a spread in there that is for like everything that I want to accomplish this year work-wise. And so in that, I will have like, I want to do a fully hand-drawn collection with washi tapes and sticker sheets and everything. And I'm planning on doing that for March or April, just depends on how it comes together. So because of that, I know that I want to be ordering the washi tape designs by the end of February is kind of what I'm aiming for, right? So because of that, I need to be aware that, okay, so if I'm planning to order the washi tapes by, let's say the last week of February, first week of March. Let's say that's the timeline. Then I know that I need to have all of the washi tapes drawn before the last week of February, right? So it just kind of gives me like a breakdown. So then I can put that into the tasks list for the month, and then I'll split it up into where it needs to sit each week. So let's say for the first 2 weeks, I'm going to practice drawing tulips, which is what I've been doing recently. And I'm going to continue practicing until I'm content and happy with how they look and that they look tulipy enough for me. And then I'm like, okay, then I need to, because I sketch in a sketchbook, then I need to take them into my iPad and do them digitally so that I can have them ready to actually go on the washi tape, so that kind of stuff. So that task list is just really good for me to break down everything I want to accomplish in the month. And it'll be anything. It can be work related. It can be personal related. It can be, household stuff. Like maybe I want to go through my closet. I want to start doing some spring cleaning kind of thing. Like I'll write that in my tasks list and then I'll pull it into the weeks and be like, oh, this is a quieter week for work. So I'll go through my closet and donate a bunch of clothes. Cause that's one thing I really want to get done here in the next month or two is I want to go through and I want to donate a bunch of clothes and just get them out. Because there's just too much stuff in my closet. It irritates me. And if you guys don't know, clutter actually makes me less creative, and it kind of, I don't like it. It like works against me. So because of that, I tend to be a very neat and tidy space type of person. So, but that's kind of what I use that for. And then here we've jumped into the weeklies. So I wanted to do tabs. You can see that I've penciled them out. I brought in my craft knife and my ruler to do straight lines. And then I'm just going to use my mini snips to just trim up the little bit. I find I have a harder time with the craft knife on these really small cuts. So I just find it way easier to go in with my little scissors and just clean those up. That's just what works for me. There's no right or wrong in any of this. You do what works for you. Yeah, so I kind of thought that would be really fun. And then I'm going to bring in some washi tapes from Anna's shop. If you guys don't know, Anna is just a phenomenal artist. She is taking a little break because they are having a baby. Her and her husband are having a baby. But her store is Paper Monogatari. You guys will have heard of her several times on my channel if you've been with me for any of my journaling videos, because I do use her washi tapes pretty often. So you'll see them pop up here in a moment because I will be using them. But as I said, she did close her shop for the next little bit, so I don't know when you'd be able to order your own. But yeah, if you ever decide to order anything from her shop, her stuff is all phenomenal. I have a lot of her stuff. She's just a phenomenal artist, incredibly kind person. So, and she has great art skills. She has a channel. She does like paintings and journaling and all sorts of cool stuff. So go check her out if that's, at all of interest to you, but she's just a really, really kind person. So I will actually be working with the same manufacturer she uses for washi tapes. She was kind enough to share that information with me. So I'm going to try them out for my washi tapes that I'm working on. And I'm hoping to do a selection of 3 washi tapes for my first collection. Bear with me. It's all a little overwhelming and a little intimidating, but we'll work through it and we'll get there. I don't know why I'm saying we. Me and the cats, we'll work through it together. But I think that it's going to be a lot of fun and turn out really pretty. So I did cut my tabs, and then you saw that I've split my weeks up into 4 sections on each side, so I have 8 pieces, because like I said, I'm going to have Sunday to Saturday in my week, and then I also have one for the tasks, so I can pull them into the weeks and then break them down into what needs to happen day by day. I honestly find if you're a person who struggles to get things done, I have to say this is probably one of the best ways I've found to stay organized, if that makes sense. Because I have an over-ending goal. So like I'm going to make a huge collection with tulips. That's one of my goals for the beginning of this year, right? Well, okay, great. How am I going to get there? Well, okay, then we break it down into tasks. The first thing is getting the washi tape stuff done. Well, the first thing is actually practicing drawing tulips to make sure that I'm happy with them. But then, we need to do the washi tapes. Then we'll work on the sticker sheets. Then we'll work on the pattern papers. Then we'll, you make it more bite-sized chunks, and then you schedule it into a certain day. And I find that makes it a lot easier for me personally to stay organized and stay on top of what I'm trying to accomplish, which when you have a lot on your plate like I do, actually anybody, I haven't yet to meet an adult now that doesn't have a ton on their plate. So if you have a lot on your plate, it kind of just helps you stay on top of everything, and it gets it out of your head, which I do find is a big thing for me. I don't want to, because I struggle to fall asleep. And so I find that a lot of the time it's because there's stuff floating around in my head, which is why I started this brain dump. I kind of use it as a multifunctional spread, and that's what you see in the very back after the weeklies. I use it to just jot down random stuff that's floating around in my head. And honestly, every day it's a little different. Some days I don't use it. Some months I don't use it. Some days I use it multiple times a day. It just really depends on what's going on for me that day. But it helps me to kind of, work through whatever's floating around in my head that day. Or maybe like I saw a recipe on something and I really want to try it out. Or, it's just a catch-all of random floating nonsense that's in my head. And I have to remember to use it sometimes, but it is kind of fun, and I do really enjoy having that as an option for, just what's going on in my head. And if you weren't a big journaling person, like if you didn't want to do this whole monthly spread or whatever, you could literally just do a brain dump type spread and just have that, and just do a new one every month or every week, depending on how much you need it, and then just jot stuff down. Like if it's, if you want to journal, but you're struggling a little bit to journal, I think that would be a great way to do it, because it's not really structured necessarily, like you can write whatever you want. Like mine is full of so much random stuff. Sometimes I doodle in it. Like it's just like a safe space for you to go and write whatever you need to write, whatever you're thinking, whatever's going on for you, and just drop that in there and get it out of your head. And then you can maybe let it go or come back to it later if you need to, that kind of thing. So Here you can see this is Aqua. She had to come and check it out. Then she will lay above my glass mat, which is what she usually does. And these are my Orchid stickers. This is the script days of the week because I have script and serif. I have 2 different fonts depending on what I'm feeling. I probably will introduce a 3rd font at some point. Not yet. And every once in a while you see me, I rip them. I'm trying to get this done. I do this full video in one sitting. I do pretty much all of my videos in one sitting unless I'm frustrated and then I have to walk away. But as a general rule, I do my full everything in one sitting. So by the time I get to like this point, I'm like, okay, let's go. Like I want to go do something else. So I get a little rammy with my stickers. But they go back together perfectly fine. It's not a big deal to me at all. And I am only putting 4 weeks in this month. Obviously it kind of sits across 5, but because most of it falls into March, I will have March have more weeks. In April. The last 3 days of March fall into April, I believe. And because there's 7 and 3 is, the smaller amount, I will have that just fall into April instead of March. And that's just how I kind of roll. I just find that to be what works better for me because I generally make everything in advance. Because my members get early access to my videos, I'm always recording fairly far ahead just in case something happens, because you never know. Like stuff happens in life. So I do try to stay on top of having my videos ready so that I can focus on other things. I am working on doing a little mixed media series in shorts, and I think it's going to be really fun. They're not playing cards, but they're like, they're Wheel of Fortune cards actually, but they would be similar to a playing card. And I want to do a mixed media project on them. So watch out for that. I think it'll be really fun. It's just something different, but it'll be in shorts because they're so small. So the first thing I'm going to do is probably like gesso them all because they're, of course, like I said, I went to the dollar store and was just looking for jumbo size cards. And the dollar stores here didn't have any jumbo cards that I could find. So the ones that I did find that were kind of an interesting size were these Wheel of Fortune ones, but I don't want to play the game. I just want to turn them into a little book where we do some mixed media stuff. So that is the plan with those. And I think it's going to turn out pretty cool. So this is your guys' like sneak peek on something that I hope to have coming in the future. But of course, I'm also working on getting all of my bookmarks up on the website and my cards and getting the tulip collection drawn. And I just have a lot on the go. So I'm just over here doing my best, but that is something I'm hoping to bring. I want to do more short form content in just like little stuff because this video is quite long. My bullet journal videos tend to be a bit longer just because we're doing, a full month worth of spreads. I don't break them up. I find that one video a month is good. I have seen other people do like their weeklies as separate videos, but this works for me because, of course, my card is predominantly cards, or my channel is predominantly cards. So I do keep Mondays specifically for cards all the time. And then I sort through Thursdays. Sometimes I do watercolor. Sometimes there's art journaling or journaling. Sometimes there's, it just depends on what I'm feeling at the time. So I've been kind of having fun keeping Thursdays open as to whatever I want to do. So I've got a couple of finishing touches. You've seen me add a couple more rub-ons throughout the brain dump spread there. And then I just went in with my mini sparkles. This is my Orchid set, of course, again, because like I said, I have a whole collection of everything in all the colors. So I went through and added just these little sparkles around the spreads. And I did do little florals here. You can see that I took those from the laser cuts and I just put one flower on each section because again, I need enough space to write. See, this is where it needs to be cohesive for me because I like that, but it also needs to be completely functional. So I don't get to add too much decoration to my weeklies simply because sometimes I write a lot. Sometimes I'll jot notes about like something that happened that day that I want to remember. Sometimes I just jot notes about like video ideas. Sometimes it needs to be functional. So I need that space so I don't do a lot of decoration outside of the cover page. And then because it's me and I couldn't leave well enough alone, I went in with my sparkle pen. This is a clear sparkle pen and I added clear sparkle across all of the flowers throughout. So I'm only going to show you working on this cover page, but I did add it on all of the flowers out in the weeklies as well. So you're going to hopefully see some of that sparkle when I hold it up right here on those roses. Like, look at that. It's so subtle yet so pretty. Such a great way to add just a little bit of something extra. But that is the video I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you will leave me a like, leave me a comment, and consider subscribing if you haven't already. I do new videos every Monday and Thursday. And like I said, I am working on a couple of fun things. So hopefully you guys will stick around and check those out. Thank you so much to my members. You guys are phenomenal. You are my favoriteest people. I cannot express how much I appreciate your support in my endeavors. You guys are amazing. So thank you so much. And if you enjoyed it and you watched it all the way to the end, please leave me your favorite flower emoji, because I think that this goes really well with these beautiful florals in this set. So thank you guys so much, and I will see you again very soon for my next video. Bye bye for now.